Three, two. What's up, beautiful people? It's your girls, Leanne. We're getting blissed out. It's the morning with my beautiful student friend and inspiration, Jennifer Tully. It's Shedding into Soul Culture podcast 39, making sure that I get this wisdom out of transformation and how these courses, 8-week blueprint is shedding into people's lives and having some impact and whatever level that nature has for it to support, to help grow, and to help transformation with the body, mind, soul. So welcome, Jennifer. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good, good. Our
I,
connection is a little bit up and down, but audience, this might happen just because of Wi-Fi. And Jennifer, where are you at? You're in what city?
I'm in Shawnigan Lake on Vancouver Island, which is the traditional land of the Cowichan tribes, the Cowichan Nation.
Yes. So we are a little bit distant, but we've just spent a couple months together in the morning, at least once a week, trying to make it there even through the Christmas time, learning about shedding into soul culture and how this blueprint can help your life. Jennifer has some ability to share her feedback on her growth, and there's still a lot more to come.
Mhm.
But it's definitely planting a good seed. And so we'll start with talking about the seed that it's planted for your life and just some of the changes, not all of the perfection about it, because none of us are perfect. It's just the showing up to what life is giving us and how the program has helped your life. So maybe we'll start with anything that you remember and how it's helped you.
There's so many parts to, there's many answers to that question, but I think personally for myself, I remember in my like early on training, you know, as a you dip or support because life gets busy. So I think one of the biggest parts for me is awareness and like an intention around mentorship. So that yoga, the lifestyle of yoga, not just, you're going and just teaching a class. It's more really kind of showing up in the yoga lifestyle and really kind of reflecting on what that means for me, what it means for the people that I'm serving and for the world. And I mean, this is kind of a lot deeper, maybe answer than maybe what you were looking for. But yeah, I'd say like really wanting to hold that right inside of me and be doing some deeper work to be able to be of greater service to the world. So um that's the big learning that I got out of this. I mean, there's so much more of all of the training, like all of the breath work and all of the classes we did, but that's the big one for me.
Yeah, showing up in accountability and then having leadership with yoga. I mean, you're already 200 hours certified. You are teaching out in the school that you're in also. So the impact I feel that this course could just have for anybody that's teaching is how when you reflect with other teachers or learn new aspects of something we've already learned a lot more deeper, where we really feel the presence of the power of how yoga and meditation and this internal essence can
Mhm.
really help our life.
Yeah, I like how you said it, like an internal essence. It's kind of it's I don't like the term non-negotiables, but I think it should be non-negotiable in a yogi lifestyle, right? So I think that's what I've learned is like I always know this, but of course the accountability is great, but the more in flow I am, the more obviously the more impact and the more I'm going to enjoy teaching, right? And love teaching and want to keep learning. So that's really it's kind of like a little flame got going inside of me, right? So because I think I was a little bit burnt out before. So yeah, that's really cool and like really exciting. So
But thinking through the weeks and also thinking maybe you can share your positive and negatives about your own self, like about accountability and like looking through, Did judgment come up for you, or did self-acceptance have to be a lesson that you have to go through, and just acknowledging, what it's like to show up 6 o'clock in the morning?
Mirror of like me seeing in you something I want for myself. And so being able to have your support was definitely key to me completing the course, because like I am a work, we all have things we're doing so many different things, right? Like working and yoga and passion projects, etc. But I mean, seeing like your passion and your leadership, I'm like, okay, like you have to be like, if you want something, you have to become what you want, right? So I don't know if that makes sense. I think definitely makes sense to you, Leanne. So that was kind of very profound for me, right? Seeing that and going, okay, like this is the right direction, right? So because we do have lots of things that we are all trying to do. So and being able to have conviction, if you're gonna do it, feel us nothing. And this is very true. So better done than perfect, etc. Right? So yeah.
Well, I know that our connection is a little bit coming in and out a couple times. So what I hear, audience, like the beauty of accountability is knowing what you want and knowing why you show up, and really finding that one thing, and when it comes to yoga, this course has not only um just the physical aspect, but it really gives you a new glimpse of like, man, when I do my asanas, I connect to my chakras. When I do
Mm-hmm.
this work, I separate parts of my body to know and to remind me about different parts of myself. Sound therapy, hearing those sounds, lam vam ram yam hum om, and the beauty of connecting to the subtleness and
Mm-hmm.
that essence of our primal trust that we come back to all the time, and how yoga gives us that security blanket, I guess you can say, because once you start to connect with this wholeness, fear leaves you, and your mind sits still and you get to recenter through, well, that's why I want to share yoga with people, or that's
I'd say
why.
lots of soothing too. Like, I don't know, that word soothing is coming up for me because it was a very, there's also like the idea of like, there's never the right time, but like, it is always the right time. And, like, I felt a lot of soothing in my training from like support around, because yeah, I was going through some personal, like all personal big things, and needing that accountability, but then also getting the relief that yoga provides when you're practicing, right? And being able to use the tools and the practices to be able to help myself get through a time that was challenging me, that could have been a reason for, me to actually not to complete the course, actually. So yeah.
Well, think about also how where the mind was in these lessons that you talk about. And you don't have to go into all the details of your personal life, but just think about, like, the ordinary day-to-day stuff that we face with our emotional body, our relationship body, our family body, our work body, and how yoga helped to center um, the inner dysfunctional aspects, like how did it bring you back to peace? How did it bring you back to comfort? Because that's really what yoga shows up to be. It's a method for the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So share that part of the highlights.
I would say, well, every class. I mean, I think lots of times I didn't want to do like the physical, but I was like, just put me in samadhi like right now. Like um that's what I mean, but I know like I have to go through the process to get there. So um yeah, I mean, I think every class, and then just being able on your own to be able to be in your space and then go through a lot of the breath stuff was really powerful. And like the playlist was all the playlists that you like you're really set up you to succeed, right? And it's a very easy transition. So it was really nice to be able to end with you, but then kind of be in my own privacy, in my own space to like finish off the practice. So yeah, that part was really key, I think. Because you could feel a lot, you're in your own home as well. So you're like, can really kind of completely let go. So if there is like any emotions or anything coming up, there's nobody really looking at you.
Mm.
Unless you have like, I don't have anyone around me, like my space is like totally quiet at home. But I mean, imagine if somebody had kids or something, like the Osho meditation one, like you got to be very like, that was challenging because I was very nervous that like I was going to scare everybody, all my neighbors, and that they were going to be like, why are you screaming, why are you stomping your, like, what is happening? So that was a bit hard for me to get over that. Yeah.
Oh, the dynamic, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
audience, the reminder in this 8-week workshop, we're shedding so much so that we're not only just learning about our nadis, our koshas, our vayus, and all those things that we need to remember when we're doing a yoga practice, because we're discovering like, oh, these are all cells, these are bones, these are tissues. We go back into like appreciation and like good self-love talk, and then holding our postures, back to like a nice flow, nice warm up, but then holding some postures in each chakra, hearing the bija mantras. Oh wow, lam,
Mhm.
and really connecting to a sound for the connection to the body, to the connection to trusting that this is the knowledge that's been passed down by the great nothing that turned into a yogi, and we call it the first yogi, Adi Yogi and Adi Shakti. They were both the yogis, Adi Shakti. We always give lots of value to Shiva, but also think about Shakti had to go through 1,008 lives of discipline in order to merge with herself in the masculine form of Shiva. So doing the yoga and being a woman and having this opportunity to see that we are blissful beings with our kosha body, to see that, yeah, emotions will come up. This life has a lot of stuff. And why do we love to teach it? Like you being a teacher too. So having accountability with another teacher, seeing that it can influence you to be a better teacher, to feel good about teaching again, and feel good about expanding into like this miraculous golden tool.
Yeah, that's just sums it up. That's like the biggest outcome for me. I mean, obviously all the tools are amazing. Like I've been able to bring those into my classes now, and teach those, right? But the biggest learning is, yeah, feeling inspired and, you know, grateful and really like that like this is a gift that I have been given and I'm actually really, really like an instant light comes into my body and I'm like of instant service to those people. And then they feel that way too after they're done and throughout the class. That's what's going on, right?
Yeah, it's the golden essence of
Yeah.
showing up. And it just like, no matter what good and bad's going on in our life, there is a certain amount of good and bad that does weigh over our emotions. But yoga soothes us through it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
And to be able to let go, like to not even let that affect you, like is something that's a huge growth for me is like I can forget. I can like, teach be of service is like that's incredible, right? It's like the
so
best way to
good.
get out of your like get out of your own way too, right? Is to be of service. So it's just really it's a phenomenal and I love the connection that we create too and like feeling you do have somebody that is a mentor that has your back that is loves you that cares, right? Like this is really important. And I think in your base training we are taught these things, but then again life gets in the way and I think having a mentor is super important. Like really is really important. But it's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, right? And forget like that yoga is a lifestyle. It's not just something you do, a couple days a week or whatever.
What's that? It's 24 hours a day. Life is a meditation. And I think what I've learned in even being a teacher or being accountable to showing up is also what I need to show up all the time to myself. And some things, when you give advice, the best thing in being a teacher is being a student and
Mm-hmm.
taking your own advice. I think that this greatest thing of doing this work is like, well, I just gave this advice to somebody else. Why wouldn't I take it myself? Right. So that beautiful serendipity of flow is where you're accountable to your own self. Like when you're facing, like, say, something lacking in your life relationship wise, and you come into contact with people that may or may not always be positive for you. And there's energy that gets stuck. And so, since you're teaching and you're using these methodologies, when you're giving advice, when I see other people, I have to take that same advice myself. And so I look at all that too, and like the blessing is tenfold. It's like it's never just one-sided. It's like this is a full embodiment of wholeness. Like yoga is wholeness. So even teaching it is another wholeness of, accountability and honor and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Any other highlights? Think about any of the Osho meditations other than the dynamic where you were scared and you broke through that, your chakra breathing, the
Yeah,
those.
yeah. I mean, yes, yeah. There's just so many. Like, um, I honestly, I really liked our last class, the bat. Like, I liked them all, but I had never done Reiki, so like that was really amazing.
Well, that was a gift because
Yeah, like I know that
that was
was
a gift because people don't get
like,
Reiki. But I teach Reiki through like when we warm up, but that was a
Mhm,
gift just because I knew where you were, and I do gift my students with certain other modalities that I teach. So yeah, that was a great gift. So anybody watching this, if you need Reiki, you know how to message me about that. But the 8-week course, well, the last week with the golden star chakra is the golden essence. And
mhm,
so, working through our golden essence and recognizing we have all this emotional body to deal with through the chakras is allowing that golden energy to fill all the gaps of every other emotion of every other chakra, because that's really what it's pouring through us all the time, and taking ownership for that. And what was in there is the merging of masculine and feminine, so that unity of that separation within us, that duality that we all face every day between our left and right hemispheres of our brain, and just knowing that duality is a real thing. It's an inner thing where even if we're looking out at every circumstance that we face with everybody moment to moment, why we check in first with our inner duality? Why do we
mhm,
check in, right? Why are we checking in? Because we want to first see, what do I got to make sure I'm showing up not to react, but I'm here to respond.
mhm,
So if humans had this awareness that my job is to first connect, center, come into a beautiful state, and be with that awareness of our state, conscious state, then we wouldn't have to overcross boundaries, and a lot less wars would happen. So this path is actually really there to help the duality first within so that we don't bring it outside. So yeah, this is it's a beautiful process, and it's an honor to be of service, my friend. And I'm so glad now that even, talk out loud about Yoga Alliance, we got you set up on there. And we're ready to go through some more wonderful experiments together, slowly, as you take some time to center all your work. And, I just want the audience to know any, recommendations, how you would recommend this course and why you would recommend it.
Uh, well, I think everybody should take this course. I think, especially if you are, I think it's really great for working people actually, be like in people in my place, 'cause- and very special. So you're getting direct mentorship. There's also a lot of philosophy that you teach throughout the class. So you're not just, it's a mix of practice, teaching, personal reflection, emotional connection. Like it's very, yeah, like it's very rich with many I don't know if that makes sense. So I think everybody should do it, but I think it's especially good for people that are in my position, something like my working, teaching, regularly, but needing that mentorship or wanting to start working towards getting more training and more certification in yoga, but also wanting to just be more in the yoga lifestyle. Like, so I think where I am is a perfect kind of person that would maybe benefit from this course. So maybe you've done a 200-hour before, you've been teaching for a bit, or you have, or even you haven't, but you want to like get back into it. So maybe you took a 200-hour a couple of years ago and you haven't been teaching, and you're ready to get back into it. Like this would be a great push, right? A great start really, because
Blending.
you'll have those conversations. Like you'll talk, well, what does your look like? How can we get you teaching more? Like I feel like you really want to help people. Like yeah, so I think it's really up to it's really good for anyone.
Yeah, and it's so good
Yeah.
even for myself too, because there's so much in this realm of everything to remember in yoga, and there's a constant amount of information that even after we do 200, 500, now I've been teaching over 1500 hours, there's always so much more to advance in because our bodies are different. Our bodies are going through stages of growth and shift and emotions and family. So for family life, it's a great shedding process. And the 30-hour certification, which is also a part of Yoga Alliance, which you have to do every year anyways. Like it'll give you an option to do 30 hours of clearing, a nice impact to remembering some vital things, some root things, which are really important, but then also the cleansing process is like, do you got any blockages you got to deal with? And business wise, how do you want to make a goal business wise? What are your goals business wise? And then come back to this tool because, we're fluctuant when we come into chapters of our life where we meet death, where we meet relationship problems, where we have new arrivals, maybe new children, where we have a new animal or we have a new home, we shift something. So shedding's always a great opportunity to really feel new and like let go of blockages because change is not always easy for the brain. It's
Mm-hmm.
not always easy for our emotional body and attachments we identify with, which were not even those attachments. We identify with something which is already gone. So I feel shedding into soul culture is really that beautiful mixture of how to recenter through a process and charge up those batteries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another great way to describe it for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's been so good.
Mhm.
I know you got a busy schedule ahead of yourself today, and we just wanted to get some highlights out to the community with my divine sister, divine friend, my new love, who wears my malas and supports me with so many wonderful things.
This one is my favorite.
Yes. And the connection to love and the connection to how these tools just play a role in making us great humans. So thank you
Mhm.
for showing up today, Jennifer. And thank you for showing up for the whole 8 weeks for yourself and listening to, through our communication, getting into that Yoga Alliance and really showing up with that power of presence and accountability for all your students. So I look forward to coming out to meet you, to have
Mhm.
some real hands-on and community,
Mhm.
Jennifer's got a lot going on in her projects too. So stay tuned to the beautiful things that we're about to share in the next coming months, but be patient because we're also in a process. And so much love to you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Namaste.
Thanks.